Life shouldn't be hard. Life should be a fun-filled adventure every day. So now start joining up dots. Tap into your talents, your skills, your God-given gifts, and tell your boss, you don't deserve me. I'm out of here. It's time for you to smash that alarm clock and start getting the dream business and life you, well, of course, are dreaming of. Let's join your host, David Ralph, from the back of his garden in the UK, or wherever he might be today, with another jammed-packed episode of the #1 hit podcast, Join Up Dots.
Yeah, good morning to you, good afternoon, or good whenever it is that you are joining us. Welcome to Join Up Dots. I'm David Ralph, and I am I'm a host of the Join Up Dots podcast. And if you've been following along in this series, we are going to be talking about building a legacy while you sleep. We're going to be talking about becoming a digital landlord. Now, you should have, over the last episodes, you should have started to change your rich filter. You should have found your utility dot. You've stopped playing defense and started looking at increasing your income. We've also looked at scalability, but today we're going to address, I think, the biggest mistake I see people making in the online world. If you're in the online world, and most of us have to be if we're creating an online business, you can be busy. You can be really, really busy. You can be posting on Instagram every hour. You can be whacking it onto TikTok, chasing likes and shares, you know, like a sort of hungry dog chasing a frisbee. But I don't really do that, because I think that when I wake up tomorrow morning, I want to know that that post from today is still working for me. Or is it just sort of buried under a mountain of other people's stuff? Most people are building their businesses on rented land, and they're building sandcastles that the tide washes away every single night. And we've got to stop doing that. We've got to stop building sandcastles, and we've got to start building skyscrapers that get bigger every time we do a piece of work. We're going to be moving from making a sale and thinking about making a sale to actually owning the space. It's time, I suppose, to stop working for every dollar and start owning the assets that pay you rent. Now, if you think about a traditional landlord, okay, he buys a house once, he renovates it once, and then for the next 20 years, someone pays him every single month to occupy that space. He doesn't have to go back very often and rebuild the kitchen. And he certainly doesn't have to do it every time the tenant pays rent, but he's getting money in all the time because he's got the asset. The asset exists. It's permanent. It has utility. It's his utility dot. Now, in the digital world, online world, we have exactly the same opportunity, but most people out there are ignoring it. They're creating expiring content. I see people spending 3 hours on an Instagram story that just disappears in sort of 24 hours under the next load of stuff that comes in. And I just look at it and think, why are you doing that? You know, you've got to be joking. And I hardly do any of that. And I always say on Join Up Dots, I don't do any of that. I might do it in the future, but at the moment, I think to myself, what's the point in trading 3 hours of your life for something that'll be gone by this time tomorrow? That isn't getting rich. That's time poverty, okay? Now, I believe that the best way of getting rich and living free is creating evergreen assets. And an evergreen asset is a piece of digital real estate. It could be a blog post that answers a very specific problem. It could be a YouTube video that sort of teaches a skill or anything, or a podcast episode. Now, I'm not saying you've all got to be a podcaster. Of course I'm not. But podcasts, evergreen podcasts, stay relevant and profitable for years. When I record a podcast like this, I'm actually putting another brick into a house. 5 years from now, someone will find this episode, they will look into Join Up Dots, they will buy the products or whatever, The work I'm doing right now will still be collecting rent in 3031, as long as it's still sort of operational. And that is how you get rich. You build a city of assets and you let the world scream and do all their stuff and just sort of move on. Now, some of you clever lot are sitting there thinking, all right, Dave, if you're so big on this passive income and building skyscrapers, why are you still here? Why are you still spending your time recording episode 3000 or whatever of Join Up Dots? And it's a good question. But it's the secret to why the rich get richer. I keep on recording because every single episode is a new plot of land. It's a new asset. So when I record this show, it gets indexed by Google. And 10 years from now, this episode will still be attracting a new listener every now and again. And that listener represents an opportunity. And people always ask me, David, aren't you worried about your sponsors dropping off? No, not at all. Because I don't sell time-sensitive ads. I build a platform that has traffic. And as long as these episodes stay useful, and I try to always make them stay evergreen, so I don't get too specific on trends or whatever, the traffic never stops. So my show from 2014 is still making me money today. And how many of you can say that about the work you did in 2014? If you was in a job, you got paid for those hours and that was it. But my 2014 work is a digital tenant that hasn't missed a rent payment in over a decade. It keeps on paying me. Sometimes it might be small, sometimes it's... But the compound effect of those 3,000 pieces of land is huge. It's the same reason why I write evergreen books. I see authors writing books about the best tech trends of 2025 or whatever year it is. And in 2025, that book is grabbed at. And then it sort of dies out. Because when I write about the human spirit and the fundamental laws of building success in your life, creating freedom in your life, and the laws that underpin business. I want to write a book that a young entrepreneur can pick up in 50 years and say, yeah, okay, this still works. And that is how you own the shelf space in the mind of your audience. You're constantly building something that is never going to die off. Just think about that for a moment. So you need to stop thinking about social and start thinking about search. That's the key thing. Everyone says, I've got to be on social media, got to be on that. It's not social at all. People are just whizzing past things without even thinking. If you can create search, so if you can create answers to problems and stuff, as we were saying, and you can appear on the first page of Google or YouTube when someone has a problem, they will turn into customers. Might not be straight away, and you don't have to be on the page for one of Google on every single post you do. That's the beauty of doing more and more and more of them. So if they type in a problem and your evergreen guide is the first thing they see, or they type in lots of things and every now and again you appear, you own that land. And I can see people obsessed with going viral. And listen to me. You don't want to be viral. It's sexy for a second and then it's gone. I don't want fireworks. I want something that will just simmer and burn for decades and decades. I'm not working harder. I'm just making sure that every ounce of energy I expend into join up dots or whatever I do will be there permanently. You know the three little pigs? You've got the twig, the straw house, you've got the twigs and the bricks. It's the brick one that you want to use. And it will take longer. Of course it will. Because by building a city one brick at a time, it takes effort. Every podcast is a brick. Every book is a cornerstone. But while you're out there painting over the same wall every day, like people do on TikTok and all these kind of places, all I'm doing is building a skyline that the world can't ignore. Join up dots. Little by little, the dots join up. See what we're saying? Yeah? You've got to think evergreen, and you've got to think about stuff that is relevant to today and will be relevant in 20 years' time. And if you do that, then you're never going to be poor. Becoming a digital landlord is about shifting your focus from who is looking at me now to who will be helped by me forever. It takes longer, of course it does, to build a skyscraper than a sandcastle, but the skyscraper is what makes you rich. Just think about it. What can you do? Go back onto the podcast episodes and find one Mona today that can create one permanent evergreen asset to solve it, and put it somewhere where it can be found for years to come. I'm a great believer in just Google blog posts and stuff. It's all content. The podcast episodes, it's all gets you found, and start owning that space. And little by little, you will get traffic, and that traffic will never stop. Promise you. That is how you get rich, and that's how you live free. Through Join Up Dots, I'm literally never here. I'm just wandering the world. But my content is being delivered while I'm away. I can record it in batches out there, but I think all the time about the problems that people have and how can I create something that will help them time and time again. So in the next episode, we're going to be looking at the minimum viable income, and we're going to calculate exactly how many of these kind of digital assets you actually need to be free forever. This is what we're doing. Getting you rich, change your thinking, and then you live free. Okay, so don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. We can really do with those, always. And we will be back again with the next episode in this series, showing you how to get rich and live free. We will see you in the next episode, and look after yourself. Cheers. See ya. Bye-bye.
That's the end of Join Up Dots. You've heard the conversation. Now it's time for you to start taking massive action. Create your future, create your life. It's the only life you've got. And we'll be back again real soon. Join Up Dots, Join Up Dots, Join Up Dots, Join Up Dots. Join Up Dots.